We have a lot of really great TV on DVD releases to look at this month, so let's get right into things. First up, we have V, the complete first season. Now, of course, this is the new V series that is airing on ABC, and to me, the first season of V, only 12 episodes long, is kind of like an exercise in potential. The show certainly isn't bad, but it's not as great as it could be, and I can't quite put my finger on why. I feel like it's a little bit homogenous, a little generic. Pretty much everybody in the cast is really good, but the show sort of takes a while to kind of find its footing. I know there were some staff changes behind the scenes early on. I think that affected the show. But having seen some footage of Season 2 at the New York Comic Con a few months ago, I have to say I'm a lot more excited about Season 2 than I was about Season 1. Now, this 2-disc set includes a number of extra features, 4 major making-of featurettes called Breaking Story, The World of V, The Actor's Journey from Human to V, An Alien in Human Skin, The Makeup Effects of V, and The Visual Effects of V. Then you get one episode, number 11, with executive producer's commentary, and you get a collection of unaired scenes. So it's a pretty good amount of extra features for only a 12-episode set. Picture quality and sound quality are both really good. They look like your standard, high-definition television. Good solid colors, good image clarity. The surround sound won't blow you away. It's a little bit of a front-centered mix, but there's some sound effects that make it to the rear speakers from time to time. So V, the complete first season, it's a good starting point, and I think you need to watch it to understand what's going to happen in Season 2, but I expect to see much better things happen in Season 2. Next up, we have some classic science fiction, which includes The Twilight Zone, Season 2. Now, for me, The Twilight Zone is pretty much as good as it gets. It's one of the best television shows ever, and I have to give credit to CBS DVD and Image Entertainment because this is one of the best Blu-rays ever. I mean, without a doubt, The Twilight Zone on Blu-ray is something that every TV sci-fi genre fan should own. You get 29 classic episodes, some really great episodes in there too. I mean, you really just can't go wrong with most any of these. But really, what sets this set apart, is the extra features and the quality. I mean, extra features, you get 25 new audio commentaries. These are not just rehashes of old commentaries. You get interviews with 2 of the actors from the show. You get an episode of the show called Suspense, which is the episode Nightmare at Ground Zero, written by Rod Serling. There's a vintage audio interview with the director of photography, a vintage audio interview with a makeup artist, and then 15 radio dramas featuring members of the cast, people that you know from not cast of this show, but actors that you know from nowadays: Jim Caviezel, Jason Alexander, Henry Rollins, Michael York, Jane Seymour, Fred Willard. Some really great Twilight Zone themed stuff there. That's all new stuff exclusive to the Blu-ray. In addition to that, you also get audio commentaries by a bunch of the actors from the original DVD sets, vintage audio interviews with cast members and Robert Serling. Not Rod Serling, Robert Serling. You get isolated music scores, you get sponsor billboards, promos for next week's shows, and a few other goodies thrown in there for good measure. Now, along with the incredible amount of bonus features, you get some really excellent high-definition television. This is TV that's about 50 years old, and it's black and white, and you wouldn't expect a whole lot from it in HD, but I have to tell you that these episodes look gorgeous. This is really just what good high-definition is all about. The sound quality, of course, is what you'd expect from a show. It's mono. It's not something that's going to give you any surround sound, but everything sounds, for the most part, clear, except for a few instances where obviously the age has gotten to things. But overall, it sounds and looks terrific. I cannot recommend this set highly enough. Next up, we have Men of a Certain Age, the complete first season. Terrific cast there, with Ray Romano making his big return to TV, Scott Bakula making his return to TV, and Andre Braugher making his return to TV. And it's a show about 3 aging men and their sort of midlife crises that they go through. And for the most part, it's a good show. It's kind of like V. It's a season of potential. It's a good show. It's enjoyable. There are some funny moments. There are some dramatic moments. But it's not yet a great show. That being said, it's worth checking out, and the DVD set does include some good extra features, including a behind-the-scenes featurette, some deleted scenes, a gag reel, which is pretty funny, and some commentary track. So, Men of a Certain Age, a good start, not a great show yet, but it's getting there. Next up, we have Lie to Me, the complete second season. This is Tim Roth's show, and it's very much like your typical kind of procedural, along the lines of like The Mentalist and Psych, although Psych's not a procedural, but shows like that, except that this guy, of course, can tell when people are lying. And it kind of sort of bridges that gap where he's almost bordering on being an unlikable character, which bothers me, kind of like House, but not quite. It's a pretty compelling show, I have to admit. It's engaging, it's interesting. The, quote, mysteries, it's not really a mystery show, but sort of the cases they work on are usually pretty interesting. And all the performances are excellent across the board. So it's a good show to watch. It's kind of those shows I didn't necessarily want to like, but then I ended up watching it and liking it. So that's Lie to Me. You get 6-disc set with 22 episodes, and your special features include extended and deleted scenes, Dr. Ekman's blogs, a gag reel, a lie detection tutorial, and a featurette on Eli Loker. Now, moving into the animated realm, we have The Boondocks, complete 3rd season, uncut and uncensored. If you haven't seen this show, you kind of have to, unless you're easily offended, and then I recommend that you stay far, far, far away from it. It is some pretty crazy stuff, we'll say. I'll leave the expletives to The Boondocks. It's very funny. It's very politically incorrect. I recommend it for people who are fans of Adult Swim and that type of show. But again, if you're easily offended, stay away from it. It pretty much lambasts every stereotypical racist profile there could be, and usually often from the African-American perspective, not from the white perspective. So it's very funny, but you really have to sort of just embrace the wrong side of your personality. It's a 3-disc set, comes with 15 episodes. Special features include every episode being hosted by Cedric Yarborough and Gary Anthony Williams, 4 audio commentaries, a Who Is Your Favorite Character featurette, animatic to screen comparisons, and a sketch photo gallery by one of the artists on the show. So a really great set if you like things a little bit left of center. Next up, we have Metalocalypse, Season 3, The Dead Man. Metalocalypse is a really odd show for me. I can't say that I'm a huge fan of it, but it's very interesting. I mean, it really doesn't hold anything back. It really goes out all the way, and, you know, it sort of embraces this Death Clock band, and they're a real band. They go out there and make music, and in the episodes, you get all sorts of things like blood and bludgeoning and things like that. It's a little strange, but at least I give them credit for trying hard and generally succeeding in what they're trying to do, even if that isn't always my particular cup of tea. So if you like Adult Swim stuff, I think if you like Metalocalypse, you'll probably know it, and if you don't, you'll probably know that too. Extra features include a collection of deleted scenes, 5 Death Clock music videos, and a Nathan reading of Shakespeare's Othello, which clocks in at almost 45 minutes. It's really something to behold. So Metalocalypse fans, you will love this release, especially on Blu-ray, which is available this time. Animation, of course, always looks great on Blu-ray. Colors really pop. The soundtrack is solid. It's not going to blow you away, but it's pretty good. So the high-def version is definitely worth picking up if you're a fan of the show. Next up, we have Dragnet 1969, a 4-DVD set, including all 27 original episodes, and this is the Season 3 of Dragnet 1969, and the reason they call it that is because there was a 1950s show as well. Now, this is, of course, the one that everyone knows. It's Jack Webb, it's Harry Morgan, it's a very solid television show. It's really good TV, it's a good police procedural. You know, it's not huge in character development or mythological story arcs. It's basically what it is. It's a cop show, week in, week out. It's enjoyable. You really can't go wrong with it. It's classic television, and it's fun to watch. It's not something I can sit down and watch all 27 episodes in a row, but once in a while I like to pop it in and just sort of see how TV used to be, and for the most part I enjoy it. You also get a couple of bonus features. You get some vintage promos, and you get the 1950s episode of the Dragnet show called The Big Smoke. So that's a neat bonus. Finally, we have 3 releases, some real rarities, and they are Trek Stars Go West, Betty White in Black and White, and Dennis Hopper, The Early Works. Now, these are all basically sort of your basic budget DVDs. They call together rare performances from some of our favorite TV stars, and you know, you're not going to find anything that's going to be majorly amazing works, but you will find some cool kind of fun stuff. Trek Stars Go West features about 8 episodes of old TV shows with William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, DeForest Kelley, and James Doohan, and a bunch of other people. Some other people show up in some of the episodes, including a young Robert Redford, Michael Landon, Cloris Leachman, Jack Warden, a bunch of people. So it's pretty cool. A bunch of old shows like Bonanza and Outlaws and The Lone Ranger and all that type of stuff. And when you see these, you get a bunch of Star Trek stars guest starring. In Betty White and Black and White, we get a whole bunch of early Betty White performances, including stuff from The Betty White Show, A Date with the Angels, which is is a sitcom that basically I'd never even heard of before this. And it's about 3 hours, actually, of old classic Betty White TV shows. And then finally, Dennis Hopper, The Early Works. Again, a lot of TV episodes. Medic, Public Defender, The Loretta Young Show, Petticoat Junction even. And then a very, very low-budget movie called Night Tide. In addition to all of that, you get some Dennis Hopper previews, theatrical trailers for some of his earliest movies. Again, about 3 hours, which isn't bad. And the Star Trek Stars Go West disc is a 2-disc set that includes about 6 hours of shows. So if you're big fans of any of these people, you will probably enjoy these DVDs, but be aware they're kind of cheap. They're not the best quality in the world, but they are kind of fun oddities.